The office life, where dreams go to die under fluorescent lighting and Karen's email chains live forever. Me 1. The Great Chair Exodus. A startup CEO decided chairs were symbols of laziness, so he banned them. The office turned into a standing-only zone where employees typed reports while wobbling like newborn giraffes. Productivity dropped, morale collapsed, and one guy fainted during a Zoom meeting. When workers complained, the boss proudly revealed he'd used the chair budget to commission a marble statue of himself labeled Visionary in Motion. HR later confirmed it cost more than everyone's combined ergonomic health claims. The company's new motto? We don't sit down for success, mostly because we physically can't. 2. The revenge of the thermostat. Some offices fight over coffee machines. Others go to war over temperature. One manager locked the thermostat inside a plastic case to maintain environmental efficiency. What followed was a covert rebellion worthy of a Cold War thriller. Employees snuck in with paper clips, magnets, even an Arduino hack to reclaim control. The building alternated daily between Arctic tundra and Hell's waiting room. Maintenance finally intervened after the pipes froze and someone microwaved their lunch just to feel warmth. The manager, unfazed, called it team building through shared suffering. 3. The meeting that wouldn't die. A marketing department once held a brainstorming session so long it became a hostage situation. It started Monday morning. By lunch, the whiteboard looked like a crime scene. By dinner, someone had built a pillow fort out of brand guidelines. Every time they tried to leave, the manager said, "Just one more idea." The pizza delivery guy was offered a job out of desperation. When they finally adjourned 14 hours later, they'd invented nothing except a deep hatred for the word synergy. The official project file was later titled, "The Day Hope Left the Building." 4. The printer that became a god. Every office has that one printer that refuses to obey mortal commands. This one took it further. The machine jammed so often that employees began leaving sticky notes offering it coffee, candy, and prayers. When IT replaced it, the new one died within hours. And that's when people started whispering. The legend of Printius Maximus was born. Soon, workers performed a small ceremony before every major report. A tap on the lid, a whispered please, and a gentle sacrifice of one unused page. When corporate tried to install cloud printing, the Wi-Fi crashed for 3 straight days, and the project manager called it divine intervention. By year's end, the printer had its own calendar, shrine, and unofficial title, Employee of the Month, 11 months running. The company finally surrendered, renaming the break room the Copy Temple. Nobody mocks the machine now. It prints when it wants to, jams when it feels. Like it, and everyone knows, you don't anger a god made of toner. 5. The office pet policy. That spiraled it. Started with one goldfish named motivation. Management said pets would improve morale. Within weeks, the office looked like a low-budget zoo. Marketing brought a parrot that screamed quarterly earnings every 20 minutes. HR adopted a snake that lived in the filing cabinet, reportedly to deter gossip. Someone from accounting left crickets loose as snake food. Now it's just background noise. When a programmer tried bringing in his ferret, the CEO drew the line after it chewed through the company Wi-Fi cable, halting global operations for 6 hours. The cleanup crew refused to return until the wildlife situation was stabilized. Eventually, the goldfish died of stress during a team meeting, and the company held a full memorial. A project manager actually put Motivation 2024 on the whiteboard under losses. HR later announced a new policy, emotional support plans only. Ironically, most of those wilted within a week, probably from secondhand despair. 6. The Zoom apocalypse. It was supposed to be a simple meeting. Then came the background filters. One executive accidentally joined as a potato and couldn't turn it off. Another's camera froze mid-yawn, so everyone spent 45 minutes discussing budget strategy with his gaping, pixelated mouth frozen in horror. A cat walked across a keyboard, turning on the CEO's microphone at the worst possible time. Right as he muttered, "This meeting could have been an email." The silence that followed could have powered a small reactor. When the intern's connection lagged, her head appeared to spin 360 degrees like a horror movie. By the end, half the team was muted. 2 people were arguing with Alexa, and someone had somehow screen-shared their grocery list. HR later circulated a memo titled Zoom Etiquette and Exorcism Guidelines. The final insult? The meeting still ended with, "Let's circle back next week." It's the corporate version of purgatory, endless video calls, and no salvation. 7. The manager who tried to ban Mondays. One manager read a productivity blog that claimed the key to success was disrupting routine. So he banned Mondays, literally. The office week started on Tuesday, but deadlines didn't move, so Tuesday just became Mega Monday. Everyone worked double hours while pretending to be grateful. HR called it a progressive scheduling experiment. The janitor called it a cry for help. Payroll couldn't handle the change, so half the staff stopped getting paid on time. When corporate caught wind, they reinstated Monday, but not before the manager declared himself a visionary in workplace innovation. The final company survey listed morale at somewhere between existential crisis and mild cult. To this day, that team flinches whenever anyone says long weekend. The only upside? For one brief caffeine-fueled month, they proved that yes, it is possible to make Mondays even worse by removing them entirely. 8. The Wellness Challenge. That broke everyone. HR launched a 30-day wellness challenge. It sounded harmless. Drink water, stretch, smile more. By week 2, it had evolved into a corporate Hunger Games. Departments competed for points, and people started sabotaging each other. Someone filled the marketing team's water bottles with Sprite. The finance department reported mysterious yoga-related injuries. It rigged the step counter app to track their mouse clicks instead of walking. The VP of sales was disqualified after trying to meditate while driving. The final straw came when 2 employees got into a shouting match over who manifested harder. HR called an emergency meeting to discuss toxic positivity and excessive hydration. The winner received a $10 Starbucks card and a concussion from a rogue stability ball. The following year's wellness initiative was replaced with a single line in the company newsletter: "Take care of yourselves, within reason," and no one has mentioned mindfulness since. 9. The Great Email War of 2017. It began with an innocent reply all. An intern sent a company-wide announcement meant for 5 people, a cheerful reminder about the new parking policy. Within minutes, 300 employees had received it. Someone replied, "Please remove me from this thread." Then another replied, "Same here." Within an hour, the entire corporate network was engaged in full-scale digital warfare. Every time someone begged to stop, 20 more piled on to agree. It begged everyone to cease replying, which, of course, generated another 100 replies. Middle management tried to restore order with a spreadsheet no one opened. By 4 p.m., productivity had plummeted to 0, and someone had started posting memes of the CEO photoshopped into war zones titled Operation Inbox Freedom. The servers crashed, the intern cried, and when it was finally over, 1,700 emails later, corporate sent a single message: "Please refrain from reply all." The subject line simply read, "Final warning." For weeks afterward, people flinched whenever they saw a notification pop up. Historians of the company still refer to it as the day Outlook died. 10. The Open Office Nightmare. Somewhere, a consultant sold the world on open-concept offices, where walls and sanity go to die. This company tore down every cubicle, promising collaboration. What they got was a symphony of chaos: phone calls, chewing noises, arguments about fantasy football, and the occasional existential sigh from accounting. One guy started using noise-canceling headphones so powerful he didn't hear a fire drill. Another built a fort out of printer paper reams and called it private property. The CEO described it as a creative playground, which was accurate only if playgrounds came with mandatory overtime and passive-aggressive sticky notes about fridge etiquette. HR tried quiet hours, but enforcing silence in an open office is like trying to ban gravity. Eventually, productivity dropped 27%, and everyone started working from home to focus. The company spent $80,000 redesigning the office back into, you guessed it, cubicles. The lesson? Sometimes the walls were protecting you, not trapping you. 11. The Motivational Speaker from Hell. To reignite passion, management brought in a motivational speaker whose entire resume consisted of a viral LinkedIn post. He wore sunglasses indoors, called himself the Energy Architect, and started the presentation by shouting, "Who's ready to transform their inner brand?" Nobody raised a hand. For 2 hours, he mixed corporate jargon with yoga poses, shouting things like, "Align your synergy," and "Failure is a subscription model." At one point, he made everyone high-five a mirror and say, "I'm the CEO of me." The janitor quit halfway through. When someone asked about his success tips, he admitted he manifested this gig. His PowerPoint froze on a slide that said, "Insert inspiration here." The session ended with an awkward group chant that sounded suspiciously like a tax seminar cult ritual. HR paid him $15,000 and sent out a survey titled, "Rate Your Transformation." 92% of employees said they felt spiritually attacked. The energy architect later launched a podcast called Authentic Hustle Frequencies. Nobody subscribed. 12. The coffee crisis. It started when the office coffee machine broke, a tragedy of biblical proportions. The next morning, people showed up late, pale and whispering threats. Productivity tanked 40%. One intern suggested everyone try tea and was immediately exiled to HR. Management tried to order a replacement, but the procurement department insisted on a competitive bidding process. For 3 weeks, the office ran on caffeine black markets, shady hallway trades of instant coffee packets, and whispered deals involving espresso pods smuggled from home. Someone built a makeshift brewer using an old printer and a candle. It exploded. Finally, the new machine arrived, sleek and digital, but required a mobile app and two-factor authentication just to pour a cup. I'd called it secure brewing. Within 24 hours, people were begging for the old one back. When it inevitably jammed, someone taped a note to it that read, "At least you cared." The machine was later nominated for Employee of the Year. 13. The Casual Friday disaster. Casual Friday was supposed to boost morale. Instead, it unleashed chaos. The first week, everyone showed up in jeans. Normal enough. By week 3, standards had collapsed entirely. Marketing arrived in pajamas. Finance wore Hawaiian shirts with motivational slogans like "Profit Happens." The CEO's assistant mistook casual for costume and came as Spider-Man. Then came the day someone showed up in shorts and flip-flops to a meeting with investors. HR panicked. They sent a memo defining casual as clean, modest, and appropriate for human civilization. Nobody listened. The next Friday, IT held a tank top rebellion. The air conditioner broke, and the building smelled like regret and body spray. Finally, corporate canceled Casual Friday altogether, citing loss of professionalism. Now, everyone dresses like they're attending a funeral for comfort, which, in a way, they are. The legend lives on, though. Once a year, brave souls whisper about Freedom Friday, and management trembles. 14. The Spreadsheet Rebellion. It began when upper management introduced a new universal spreadsheet meant to streamline productivity. The file was 17 tabs deep, loaded with color codes, pivot tables, and formulas so complex that even Excel begged for mercy. The first problem? It crashed every computer that dared to open it. The second? Nobody actually knew what the data meant. A brave analyst tried to simplify it, but the VP called that data vandalism. Soon, employees were secretly using their own private spreadsheets like contraband. The rebellion grew. Underground networks traded simplified versions via flash drives labeled vacation photos. Eventually, the CFO realized all financial projections were off by millions because people were editing different versions. In a desperate act of damage control, management declared Spreadsheet Amnesty Week, encouraging everyone to submit their rogue files without punishment. The result was 84 conflicting budgets and one nervous breakdown in accounting. The universal spreadsheet was quietly deleted, never spoken of again. Today, the survivors still flinch when they hear the words real-time data sync. 15. The birthday cake. Scandal. One office had a simple rule: celebrate everyone's birthday equally. But equality is a dangerous thing when cake is involved. The trouble started when accounting got a chocolate mousse masterpiece and marketing got a grocery store sheet cake that said "Happy Birth" because someone ran out of frosting. HR tried to mediate, but then the CEO's assistant ordered a 3-tiered designer cake for the boss, complete with edible gold leaf. That's when the revolt began. It demanded parity slices. The warehouse crew brought in a protest pie. Someone started a spreadsheet, because of course they did, to track cake fairness metrics. The situation escalated until the office had a formal cake committee with bylaws, flavor rotation, and approved frosting ratios. But peace didn't last. One employee brought a vegan, sugar-free, gluten-free cake and was promptly excommunicated. The next morning, HR issued a memo. All future birthdays will be celebrated with fruit. The following week, someone smuggled in a cupcake like it was contraband. Thus began the cake black market, where rebellion was sweet and frosting was freedom. 16. The office plant conspiracy. It started as a friendly green initiative. Everyone was encouraged to bring a plant to purify the air and boost morale. Within months, desks turned into jungles. The marketing team's succulents staged a silent takeover of the windowsill. Its ficus grew so tall it interfered with the Wi-Fi signal. One employee named his fern Gary and started emailing it on CC. Then Gary mysteriously disappeared, sparking a week-long investigation complete with flyers. Missing. One fern, medium height, last seen thriving. HR reviewed security footage and found the cleaning crew disposing of unregistered flora. Chaos erupted. The office split into factions, the fern loyalists versus the minimalist purists. Someone even spray-painted Gary Lives on the supply closet door. Eventually, management stepped in, declaring Plant Amnesty Day. Employees could keep one plant, as long as it fit in a standard coffee mug. The survivors still whisper that Gary was replanted in the CEO's office, living out his days under premium LED sunlight. Some say he's still growing, plotting his leafy revenge. 17. The email signature arms race. A new company-wide memo suggested personalizing your email signature. Simple, right? Wrong. Within days, signatures turned into digital vanity projects. Sales added inspirational quotes. Marketing added emojis. The VP added a 500-pixel photo of himself shaking hands with no one. Then came the battle of the fonts, Comic Sans versus Papyrus, that nearly tore the company apart. One in turn added an 18-line legal disclaimer about environmental sustainability, which somehow doubled the size of every email. Soon, inboxes were overflowing with signatures so large they required scrolling. Someone tried embedding a video of their dog for brand warmth. The IT department rebelled and started replying with blank emails just to prove a point. HR intervened with an email identity workshop, where employees were told to find their inner footer. It ended with more clip art and one resignation. The final straw came when the CEO's signature included a sound file of him saying, "Let's connect." Every computer in the company screamed it simultaneously. The policy was rescinded in an all-caps email that simply said, "Stop being yourself." 18. The snack war. It all began when management replaced free snacks with healthy alternatives. Gone were the chips and cookies, replaced by kale crisps and something called lentil bites. Within a week, morale plummeted faster than the vending machine's sales graph. Employees started smuggling in junk food, creating an underground snack economy. Twix bars were traded like currency. Doritos were stored in ceiling tiles. Someone opened a secret drawer labeled "Do not inspect without warrant." HR caught wind after finding a trail of M&Ms leading to the printer room. When management cracked down, workers staged a full-blown snack strike. Coffee without donuts, meetings without muffins, chaos. In desperation, the CEO announced Snack Freedom Fridays. It worked, until someone brought ghost pepper chips and set off the fire alarm. The final HR memo read, "Effective immediately, all snacks must be pre-approved and emotionally neutral." The vending machines returned quietly at night, restocked with contraband Cheetos, the true symbol of corporate resistance. 19. The Office Petty Olympics. Every workplace has competition, but this one turned it into an Olympic sport. It began when two departments argued over who worked harder. To settle it, HR created the Office Productivity Challenge, a friendly, week-long contest meant to encourage collaboration. What followed could only be described as psychological warfare with spreadsheets. Marketing tracked every bathroom break in a color-coded chart. Sales installed motion sensors to prove they stayed at their desks longer. IT programmed an algorithm to auto-refresh their time trackers while they napped in the server room. When accounting caught them, they reported it anonymously, via an email titled justice.exe. The prize was supposed to be a pizza party, but when the dust settled, morale was lower than the stock price. The CEO declared everyone winners, which only made things worse. That night, someone replaced all the medals with post-it notes reading, "Participation, the true corporate spirit." The event was never held again, but a plaque still hangs in the break room labeled First Annual and Last Office Games. 20. The Great Coffee Mug Heist. It started small, one missing mug, a harmless mystery. Then another disappeared. Then 10. Soon, the kitchen shelves looked like a crime scene. People accused each other. Tension brewed stronger than the coffee itself. Someone started labeling mugs with threats like, "Touch this and HR will find your body." It set up a hidden camera, but it only caught one guy rinsing spoons suspiciously. Then came the note, "Mugs belong to the people." Overnight, an anonymous employee created a black market mug exchange behind the vending machine. Ceramic smuggling became a way of life. When management ordered replacements, they vanished within a week. HR finally cracked the case months later. The janitorial staff had been quietly taking mugs home because everyone left them dirty anyway. The discovery brought no peace, only embarrassment and paper cups. The final HR email said, "Please bring your own mugs and your own sanity." Since then, no one leaves a mug unattended. In this office, coffee isn't just fuel, it's survival. 21. The fire drill fiasco. When safety training meets stupidity, you get this masterpiece. The company scheduled a surprise fire drill to test emergency readiness. The only problem? No one told the maintenance crew. So, when the alarms blared, they thought it was real and promptly sprayed down the break room with industrial foam. Meanwhile, accounting refused to leave until someone approved the overtime. The IT team grabbed their monitors for insurance reasons, while HR tried to form an evacuation conga line to keep spirits high. One guy took the stairs but forgot his phone and tried to go back for it, right as the fire marshal arrived. By the end, half the office was outside, half was covered in foam, and the building smelled like burnt Pop-Tarts. The drill concluded with a company-wide email titled, "Next time, pretend to care." Management later canceled all future surprise drills, citing psychological distress and janitorial overtime. The real fire hazard, apparently, was the staff's collective judgment. 22. The corporate retreat that went feral. Someone in HR thought the company needed team bonding in nature, so they booked a weekend retreat in the woods. No Wi-Fi, no coffee, no escape. Day 1 began with trust falls, which immediately ended when the CFO dropped the CEO to test liability coverage. Day 2 featured a ropes course that claimed 2 sprained ankles and 1 ego. The team scavenger hunt turned into a literal search and rescue when marketing got lost for 4 hours following a map drawn by an intern. The final event was a campfire sharing circle, where half the group confessed to hating the retreat. When they returned Monday, productivity actually fell. The next year's retreat was held at a local hotel conference room, with Wi-Fi, air conditioning, and a bartender. The official report described the new event as a resounding success. Translation: nobody bled, cried, or got poison ivy. Corporate bonding at its finest. 23. The HR memo that broke the internet and the staff. It was supposed to be a standard policy update, but the HR manager, in an attempt to connect with employees, filled the memo with emojis. The subject line? "Let's crush Q3, fam." It only got worse from there. Phrases like "no cap," "attendance matters," "inaporis," and "PLs don't ghost your shifts" spread through the company like wildfire. Confused boomers asked it if their email had been hacked. Millennials reported emotional damage. Gen Z thought it was satire, until HR printed it out and taped it to the break room wall. Within hours, someone had parodied it with an AI-generated HR rap. The VP demanded professionalism. HR doubled down with a TikTok about compliance vibes. The CEO responded with a memo written entirely in Comic Sans. Productivity dropped 30%, but engagement technically rose. The final internal survey asked, "How did this make you feel?" The most common answer, "Tired." And there you have it. Proof that the modern office is less a workplace and more a live-action sitcom written by caffeine and despair. Which one deserves an Employee of the Year trophy for stupidity? You decide.